Hey folks, we're going to find the slope or the rate of change from these two given points. These are two ordered pairs, and I'm going to show you how to make a table with these two, and I think you'll like that. But I'm also going to show you basically the formula, the change of y over the change of x, and we'll talk about that. But eventually you'll see that it's the exact same thing, and then we do have two practice problems as well. So in order to find the step number when we're just given these ordered pairs here, it becomes difficult for kids because it's the same information but it looks different. But if you already know how to find it from a table, you're in good shape. So make a quick T-chart just like this, and then take your information and slam it straight into the table. Your first number is your x, the second number is your y, so you can take this and put it straight into your XY table with no thought. And then I need you to do the same thing with your second point. Once you see your XY table, then you're just asking yourself, well, in order to find your change of y, you're looking at your y-axis. What would you do to 1 to make it go down to -3? Well, you would minus 4. What would you do to get from 2 to make it 5? You would add 3. And your change of y goes on top, so -4. And your change of x, right? That one goes on the bottom there. That's it, you're done. So that's how we can use a table, but how can we use this with what they say is a formula? Well, what I would recommend that you do is that you take your very first y value, which is a 1, you can see it right there, it's a 1, and put it right here. If this is your first ordered pair, just take your first y value and put it here. Now you see your x value first, but what happens is that you need to put that x value on the bottom because that's your change of x's. So a lot of times people will steal the wrong number and put it on top. They'll put this 2 on top, so be careful. Your y value, the second number, goes on top. Now you always just go ahead and put a subtraction sign here because we're going to find the difference between this y, 1, and the second y, -3. That's what it is, right? The change of y's. So if we subtract the first y and the second y, we'll know what the change of y is. And one thing that causes issues is that people think that because this had a -3, they would just write 1 minus 3, and that causes a problem because the formula is would you take the first y and subtract the second y. Okay, first y minus the second y. Well, that gets us +4, and that's different than this, but that's okay. So now, if you stole the first y, you have to come back from the same ordered pair to still in the same order the first x. That's why I've got it in red. And we will put that 2 right here on the bottom. The minus sign is already sitting here, and now whatever the second x value is, we're going to put it right here. And 2 minus 5 is -3. Now, this might look like it's different, but you have to understand we have the ability to move that negative sign up to the top if we want it, or we could take that negative sign and move it down to the bottom. As long as the fraction has one negative sign, then you're 100% okay, and you will not have the wrong answer. All right. Now, if you ever get two negative signs on there, what's a negative divided by negative? It'd be a positive. And you would just take away both of the negative signs. But as long as you've just got one negative sign, just let it sit, or you can just go ahead and move it up to the top. If you like the table value, or excuse me, the table method best, I would just focus on that method. If you think you like this method of just taking your y's and subtracting them on top and taking your x's and subtracting them on bottom, then just use this method. If whatever method you chose is not working out for you, make sure that you're letting me know so that way I can come back and give you a hand with it. How about you go try this one right here, pause the video, and then hit play as soon as you're ready to see if you get it right. So you can see I stole the first y and I stole the second y. But since I stole this y first, I've got to steal this x, and that x is going to sit right down here in the bottom. And do you see how we've got two different negative signs? That's okay, but what's negative divided by negative? It makes it positive. So when you run into this situation, take those two signs off, and our slope is 2/5. Or, hey, we could call it rate of change, or we can call it m. We can also call it step, but nobody would know what we're talking about, right? So let's come over here and let's try a table version of this. So we slide it straight in. You can see +2, +5. My y change stacks up on top of my x change, and there we have it. It's positive 2/5 for your slope. Let's go do this one a little faster. There we go. We can see it a little bit better here. So here we'd get 2 over -4. Now this does simplify down to 1 over -2, and that would be a -1/2. You can easily just slide that negative up to the top if you wanted to. Since we've only got one negative sign, we can. But let's go make a table for it. Squeezing that table in there. Look right here. Look, -2, okay, +4. Well, you would be getting this setup right here to be a -2 over 4. This -2 on top and the +4 on bottom. It still simplifies down to a -1/2. Yes, that negative's up top, but remember, we can always slide that negative up on top. And so if it's just one negative, it's a negative slope. So that's how we can find the slope if they gave us ordered pairs, and there's two ways that we can do that. And then if they do give you a graphed line, go back to lesson 4A, and you'll be able to see how we can find the slope from a graphed line.